Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
All right, Judd, we're gonna work those shoulders out. 12 hours before Vikings.
Oh, you're gonna do it?
13 hours before Vikings vent
Oh,
line.
we're gonna do this thing?
Because two things. The show is back at full strength. We've got mustached producer Declan back from honeymoon, and the Vikings clinched a playoff spot.
Oh boy!
Last
All right.
night.
Well,
Let's go.
so this could be a double flag waving week.
I mean, you might be waving flags this morning, tonight, tomorrow morning.
Well, tonight I technically can't because I'll be in the building.
That's true. Well, you did.
So-
They did give you the official
towel,
sideline towel last time.
Yeah, it's a nice towel too.
Can you bring that back into the stadium and just like wear it around your neck after the game?
I probably
Because it's
could.
exhausting to be a media member there too. You know, you need that.
Just start sweating profusely. You're like toweling yourself off. Whoo, that feels good.
Also, assuming Judd, you wished Declan a happy birthday yesterday.
Dexter, was your birthday yesterday? Happy birthday, man.
It was. My
No,
birthday yesterday.
I completely forgotten. I had completely forgotten. Happy birthday, Declan. Glad to have you back.
That should have been a write that down prediction.
Yeah, you should have. Oh, yeah, you easily could have got it
dang it.
right.
Dang it.
And I didn't look at Facebook. So, like, because I'm sure it said on Facebook. Because, like, that's my only hope, right?
Yeah,
Like, if I
I
look
see
at
100
Facebook-
other people commenting,
Yeah.
"Happy B-Day, Happy
Yeah,
B-Day."
yeah.
Which true.
Which, by the way, it's crock. It's a crock because it's on the Facebook thing, like, wish him a happy birthday. And you just have to hit a button now?
It's very transactional.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah. So no, it was a good birthday. I slept in. I took 2 naps. Didn't leave the. Well, I left the house to get booze and dinner to cook at home. I know that'll shock you both. But had a steak dinner.
Nice.
Was in bed by 10:15. This is 32, baby. This is exactly what
It's
exactly
great.
what I wanted.
Yeah.
How's
so you're
the
now
transition?
comfortable, like you don't get that FOMO anymore on
No.
your birthday, 32. You're just,
Oh, God. No,
No.
At 32, I hope not. Are you now back into the time zone here? Like, that's a big adjustment.
Well, Mick is right here. We went through 2 full bottles of SPF 50 for this executive producer here. I don't like sunburn,
you're
man.
whiter than you were before Hawaii.
I know. I do not like sunburn. So I have no shame in admitting my tan game doesn't happen because I don't like sunburn. The transition's been all right. We landed on Saturday morning like at 6:20 a.m. I will say the only perk of that was we were obviously the first plane to land at MSP that day. So like getting our bags in an Uber, we were back here in Woodbury like 1 hour on the nose from the times we touched down to like being
nice.
back here.
Yeah.
Which was
Efficiency.
solid. And then like slept for like 7 hours. And then I took a couple like I would say I'm mostly back. It was kind of nice that I had like 2 full days to sleep it off and get back to normal from the 4-hour difference.
That's the key.
Awesome.
You got to build in that little extra recovery day.
Well,
100%.
happy birthday, Dex. Hope
Thank
it was
you,
a great
Judd.
one.
Thank you, Judd. Surprising
Happy
no one.
belated birthday.
When's Dawn's birthday?
Actually, here's the funniest thing. So, Dawn's birthday is May 5th.
Okay.
And I know Phil's birthday's in May because
you're-
Dawn graduated from high school the day Phil was born.
Yeah.
And then I know there was a smart-ass comment about, I bet Judd knows when KOC's birthday is, and I know that because KOC and Phil have birthdays like...
It's like May 26th, right? Or
Yeah.
May 20th.
Now I don't know the exact date
I'm the 20th. I'm
of
May
your
20th.
birthday, but I know that Dawn said she graduated high school the day that you were born.
And yours, it's either November 13th or 15th.
13th.
November
Yeah.
13th, right? Yeah. Right in there. Someone commented that Declan's just lucky he's been around long enough for Judd to know his name. So we'll
Also true.
That's not altogether untrue.
Oh man. Hey, before we dive into the meat of this episode here, just hanging out on Monday Night Football Day, Vikings clinching a playoff spot. Tell the audience about Quick Trip. A great place to start the week here, Judd.
Absolutely the best place because, it's Monday, you're sort of crabby, it's a whole week in front of you, and you need some stuff. Let's say that you need lunch or a snack or something, Quick Trip is the place to definitely go and pick that up. You got the delicious Kruba coffee that we're about to see. Heck, you know what? The gas tank might be near E. You don't want that to start the week, right? Well, Quick Trip is the place to fill up that tank. And right now, when you stop at Quick Trip, you can also give the gift of Quick Trip. Pick up a Quick Trip gift card in-store or online. Online, it's at quicktrip.com/gift cards. And, you know, you're trying to find gifts. Let's say you know some people and you like them. You might not know their names, but you like them. And you're like, what can I get this person for a holiday gift? A Quick Trip gift card says, I like you, and I might know your name by the end of the week.
Yeah. Or it could just be to whoever it may concern. Here is a Quick Trip gift card. Yeah.
Yes, exactly right.
So tomorrow we'll do our hottest Vikings takes after they play the Bears tonight. But we figure we'll carve some space out for some hottest NFL takes here if they happen to include Vikings. Awesome. But the big story last night, the Vikings have clinched a spot in the NFC playoffs, and also the Lions have left the door open now. So major developments just watching the games yesterday, and that the Lions are now 12-2 after losing, and they lost 2 or 3 more defensive players to injury yesterday. I think it's up to 15 defensive players are either on IR or have been injured to the point of like maybe not coming back the last 3 games.
It was 13 going into the game, and they lost 3 more, including McNeil yesterday. And Campbell says he thinks those 3 are done for the season.
So they're literally just like scraping dudes off practice squads and stuff.
Yep.
So, but Lions are 12-2, Eagles are 12-2. Vikings can be 12-2 if they don't fall into a trap against Chicago tonight. But the Vikings, if they win the next 4 games, control their own destiny for the division, for the number 1 seed in the NFC, for a first-round bye, for home games all throughout the playoffs until the Super Bowl. So, I guess, what do you guys make of the door being left open here by the Lions and the Vikings being officially in the playoffs?
I think it's great, but I will say this, being a veteran of the sports scene in this town, I want to see what happens tonight. Like, I just don't want to...
Classic trap game circumstances.
It feels like, and it's not just a Vikings thing, it feels like a Minnesota sports thing, right? Where something goes right, and you're like, okay, this is the start of it. This is the snowball effect. And you just sort, and you're like, oh, the Bears suck, no problem. And then you start to look at Seattle next Sunday, right? So I think it's great. There's a definite opportunity here. Philadelphia very much in that mix as well. But yes, I'm going to withhold like waving the flag excitement about this opportunity until I see tonight. I think this team is geared correctly to know how to process it.
Yeah.
But I've made that assumption before, and it's bitten me. So I am, to use a cliche term, I am cautiously optimistic.
It feels like, though, and I'm trying not to let the Vikings PTSD really creep in here. I mean, I literally was on the beach last week saying they're going to the Super Bowl, and that has not changed since I landed
you said
back here in the frozen
last week,
tundra.
Dex. Nothing you said last week is going to be held against you completely.
Honeymoon, cocktails,
yeah, exactly.
Hawaii.
Spas.
Sun, no shirt. You can't put SPF 50 on your brain, so the sun's getting to you.
I don't know.
By the way, the 90-minute massage as like the first ever massage, bold play, but wow.
I side rant. I would do 50 minutes or the 45 minutes again. Like the 90 minutes and it was everything. It was the hands. It was the feet. I didn't like that scrub too on my hands and feet. I said to my wife afterwards, what was that bead? I said bleep. I said a word. I said, what was that bead crap they put on our hands and feet? She goes, that was the hand and foot rub, you idiot. Like that's what that stuff was.
What did they put, like stones or?
No,
it was like used more than their hands or what?
it felt like soil. It felt like a bunch of like rocks and pebbles of soil on my hands.
It's like a lotion. It's like
but I didn't like that feeling. Wasn't a fan. I said I don't
was
like
that an add-on or was that part of the basic level 90-minute?
It was
massage?
part, I think, the add-on, because that was the whole couples massage thing that we bought. It was a couple. We were both in the same room, and it ended up working out. But I would have done the 50 minutes and just a normal massage. If I'm to go back to a place like Woodhouse Spas, for example, I would just do the 50-minute massage.
Did you guys do any aromas? Like you can add like lavender or,
I don't think so.
I'm told.
Yeah, if she did, she picked it. I don't remember that part. So couldn't tell you.
Oh,
But
man.
maybe the SPF did get into the brain a little bit.
Yeah,
and
that's
I did
exactly
not get
where
Robert.
we
My
got to be
wife
very
was next to
careful
me.
here.
No.
We got to be
No.
careful here, though. You never know, like the
Robert Kraft.
add-ons of the massage.
add-ons,
My mind
yes.
goes to places that.
Do you want the Robert Kraft package?
Oh God,
I don't know about that.
I did the
It's
infrared
cash only.
The infrared. Where I did, I think my first write that down
Strip
predictions
mall.
for both shows. The infrared sauna instead of like the traditional sauna. Pretty slick. I don't know if you ever sat in an infrared one. I kind of like that over the traditional sauna.
Yeah.
But back to
Anyways,
football.
yeah.
Back to Vikings. I think when you just look at the NFC, like it's just so wide open. Like even though Philly's on a roll, just like the Vikings are, like is their passing game legit? Is there problems inside that locker room? I saw the Chris Sims report about Jalen Hurts. Like maybe there's a schism that's could be going on there. You know, the Packers have been good, but they haven't beaten any of the top dogs. I just look around the entire state of the NFC, and there isn't anyone that just like strangle holding this, even despite the Lions mostly being on cruise control. Those injuries are piled up. Mm-hmm. So when I look around, I even watch a football-free Sunday of the Vikings yesterday, like I was able to do. I just look around the NFC, and it's wide open, absolutely wide open.
It's crazy because, I mean, the Eagles even yesterday. So that's a huge win for the Eagles. They're bouncing back. They're basically ahead by double-digit points the whole game against the Steelers. A.J. Brown got the ball and should be fairly happy. I don't know. But then you have a moment where Nick Sirianni is trying to go over and talk to one of the defensive linemen who made a dump, like he hit a dude upside the head. I can't remember which player it was. But the defensive line coach is like putting his hands on Nick Sirianni, telling him, dude, stay away from my player. And Sirianni's like, I'm the head coach. So even in a big win again, they're just like at each other's throats. The Lions, we could talk again about a Dan Campbell decision. I get why he went for the onside kick because their defense wasn't stopping Buffalo at all. I know that's a big debatable point. Why would you go for the onside kick with 12 minutes left? Because the Bills are going to score 50 points, and the only way to win is to like not give them the ball. But they've lost, like Judd said, 13 defensive players to IR, 3 more yesterday. But I'll give you, like, Vikings should absolutely be in the conversation.
Yeah.
Packers are really good, but to Declan's point, there's a clear line of who they've beat and who they haven't. They've lost 4 games, 2 to the Lions, 1 to the Eagles, 1 to the Vikings, in which they were getting beat by 28 points in the first half. They're very good and seem to be getting better. But the Rams look awesome the last month. I'll even say, like, Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers and the points they can put up, and Mike Evans was awesome again yesterday. I don't know that they're going to roll through and win 4 games and win a Super Bowl, but the NFC is a lot more formidable than people were maybe saying a month ago as we looked at the bracket.
But to go back to your initial question, Phil, like just from because the Vikings have a chance now to take this thing by the throat completely. Like this is in their hands. How much do you trust that? Because I mean, it's a great opportunity, and you've got Chicago at Seattle versus Green Bay, and what's going to be a great game, and then at Detroit. So as we sit here right now, what's your trust?
Trust in the Vikings winning out and getting the number 1
trust
seed.
in the Vikings grabbing hold of this thing by the throat and taking control, which they have the ability to. I mean, there are some factors here, but those teams that, the Rams and the Buccaneers are not going to play a role in the regular season if the Vikings do what the Vikings can do. Supposed to do, maybe.
I don't, people are going to say I'm being negative here, I guess, but this doesn't feel like a 15-2 football team. The Vikings feel like a really good, well-coached 11 to 12 win team that is maybe playing a win or 2 above its level. I think they're definitely a contender to get to the NFC Championship game. But when I think about like a 15-win team, that is a legit Super Bowl winning caliber team. Oh, yeah. I need to see the next month to see if they've fully graduated into that category. And tonight, if you stomp the Bears out, I know the Bears are in franchise transition and they haven't won a game in 2 months. They might not win another game the rest of the season. But if you stomp the Bears 31-10 tonight, I think that's meaningful because it shows, hey, even after you just clinched a playoff spot, kind of a trap game situation here, that you took care of business the way that you needed to. And the Bears have played, I think all the division games that they played have been close right down to the wire, if not down to the last possession. So we'll learn more tonight, but then the Vikings still have that Packers game, and then if that game in Week 18 is meaningful, which that might be like the Sunday night game if it's tracking for the way it is right now.
Yeah.
So my confidence in them being a 15-win team is like skeptical, but let's see what happens tonight.
And I love, personally, the fact that they get to play. Obviously, they have the Bears still. We can't look too far ahead, but they have to go to Seattle. They still got to play Detroit and Green Bay left. Like, I personally like the fact that they have good competition to end the year, and they're not finishing against Carolinas and New Yorks and the other poor teams in the NFC. Like, they're going to have to prove it. And, man, if they run it, and I know the Vikings are somewhat getting a little bit more respect, but still obviously not enough as they should be. If they run the table against all of these good teams and get a big win against Seattle on the road and actually finish things out here against Detroit and Green Bay, I mean, like, how could the experts or how could anyone not pick the Vikings to legitimately go to the Super Bowl? I don't know how you couldn't.
Yeah, and the Lions defense, too, is going to tell a story over the next month. Because you could justify it, and I did tweet out yesterday, the Vikings are currently, like right now in this snapshot in time, based on where the Lions defense is at, better than the Lions. And Lions Twitter found that tweet and is coming at me. But I would say this to the Lions and Lions fans. Your defense will let us know in the next 3 or 4 weeks if you just ran into a Josh Allen buzzsaw and in Green Bay ran up 30 points on you, or if this is a crisis going into the playoffs. Because if they start giving up points to the Bears next week and then like a depleted Niners team and the Vikings wind up winning the division because of their eroding injured defense, different story for them.
If you're at a game now, I think that is, and I mean, that Bills Detroit game was great. It was a heavyweight bout, just haymakers back and forth. But I think if you find yourself in a predicament now where you must use the 2024 onside kick because you're afraid to put your defense back on the field, I think you're screwed. Now, not against bad teams, but like if you're in a playoff game and it's going back and forth and you're like, okay, here's the deal. We have to tell them what we're going to do. I think you're screwed. Like, I think Detroit might be in a predicament where they could even get the top seed, but if you're going to go play and eventually you are one or two, like really, or three really good teams, I don't see how you win. Like that decision to me was really symbolized where Detroit is at right now. And it's sort of too bad, too, because, I mean, Jared Goff is phenomenal. Like, that team deserves more, but I just don't see when you are down, you're literally down, you're two deeps from your defensive line from week one are gone. I don't know how you get through that.
If you look at the schedules here, one more thing on this, and then we can get to our hottest NFL takes from the weekend. The Eagles have a definitive schedule advantage over the other two lost teams right now. First of all, like the Lions and Vikings play each other, obviously. So one of them is going to lose that game. The Eagles go at Washington, and Washington is desperately trying to hang on to playoff position, so you should get Washington's punch there. But then it's home against Dallas and home against the Giants. So the Eagles are going to be pretty heavily favored to finish 15-2.
Yep.
And then, and they haven't lost a game since September 29th before their bye week. Just a crazy run that they've been on with infighting and all the drama and stuff too.
Yep.
And then the Lions go at Chicago, at San Francisco, and then home against the Vikings. And then Vikings, obviously, with the game against Chicago tonight. That Seattle game in Seattle, it might be Sam Howell as the starting quarterback because Geno Smith was in major pain with that leg injury.
Yes.
Which, if Sam Howell starts, it's game over. Like, Vikings they're going to sack him 8 times, and it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah, so your schedule, if you're the Vikings, you now get 2 games consecutively. If Smith can't start next Sunday, you get 2 games where you are going to be, like, you should win. Like, there's not like a... Because Seattle, with Geno Smith in Seattle, as good as the Packers looked against them last night, that's a tough game.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle in Seattle with Sam Howell starting becomes a much more like, okay, like we have to show up for sure, but then those last 2 games, I can't decide what's tougher. is the penultimate game against Green Bay, which is playing really well now. That actually might be as tough, I should say, as the Detroit game at Detroit.
Yeah. Yeah, Green Bay, something clicked, I feel like, in the second half against the Vikings. And from that point forward, the only games they've lost are to the Lions. And one of those was right down to the wire.
I think Jordan Love got health. Like, Jordan Love in the first half of that game when he came back against the Vikings looked like a guy who should not have been playing that day.
And their running game is among the most creative. Yeah. Josh Jacobs is just a bell cow. So respect to the Packers.
Kevin O'Connell might not be like there's a definite conversation here in a competition. Kevin O'Connell might not be the best offensive play caller in the division. Matt LaFleur might be.
LaFleur seems to, I mean, they definitely have a better run game.
Yes.
That's 100% for sure. Passing schemes, I mean, there's not that many dudes that are putting Sam Darnold in MVP contention.
No, I'm just saying it's a conversation.
Wide open looks all the time.
But I mean, LaFleur lost Love, and we're all like, Malik Willis, they're going to get and did really well. So like you've got two offensive minds in this division that are elite.
Yeah. Boys, we got some hottest NFL takes lined up here, but before we dive into that, Underdog, Dex, were you keeping an eye on Underdog, or did you just disengage from everything sports when you were in Hawaii?
No, I was able to check it out. You know, they Underdog is still popular in Hawaii, which is awesome. There's Underdog all over the country. You see the commercials for it. And if you haven't gotten in on the fun, you can still join with promo code SCORE. Gets you a 50% deposit match. You know, you can, when your fantasy football season ends, which there obviously some of them are coming to an end here very soon, you can just draft a new team for those week 17, 18 fun games. You can draft teams for the playoffs. You can get in on pick'ems for plenty of different sports. Underdog, promo code SCORE for a 50% deposit match.
Also, a shout out to the exclusive personal injury law firm of Purple Daily. That would be Nicolay Law, led by Russell Nicolay. His team is very much ingrained in the Twin Cities communities that we live in here. They're just normal, everyday folks that happen to have law degrees and the expertise to help get you the compensation you deserve after an accident. So if you or a loved one gets injured, make sure you get a hold of Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers, NicolayLaw.com, or give them a call at 1-855-NICOLAY. And all week long here, the SKOR North Holiday Auction is taking place. You can visit scorenorth.com and enter keyword auction to register and view and bid on items. These could be great, like last-minute holiday gift items, too, like the ultimate golf package at Deer Run, for instance, or a Canadian fishing package for 4 at Fletcher Lake Lodge, a 2024 quad hauler from Pleasureland RV, and a bunch of other cool things. All of it available at scorenorth.com, keyword auction. All right, hottest NFL. We'll do hottest Vikings takes tomorrow. Obviously, if you've got some Viking stuff in your hottest NFL takes, we will happily accept. Anybody itching to lead off here?
Go ahead, Phil Mackey.
Okay. So I do have a little Vikings flavor in mind. After watching Bengals through Red Zone channel yesterday, my hottest take, and I kind of touched on this last week with you, Judd, but my hottest take is that the Bengals should 100% hands down hire Brian Flores to replace Zach Taylor as their head coach. Did you see the video clip of Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor on the sidelines? And we don't have full context because Joe Burrow is very private. Neither one of them is going to talk about it.
Yes.
But it was like, they were winning the game. They're playing the garbage Titans. But it was just kind of a slop fest. The Titans turned the ball over 5 or 6 times, and the Bengals were still having a hard time putting them away because their defense is atrocious.
Yeah.
And at one point, Zach Taylor is like kind of bent down, talking to Joe Burrow on the bench. And so you see the back of Zach Taylor's head as he's kind of like, trying to, I don't know if he's trying to pump Joe Burrow up, but Joe Burrow, you can read his lips. He goes, F that. We were awful today. He was like annoyed that Zach Taylor was to be like, hey man, this is good. We're win this game. We can still get to 9 wins. Mm-hmm. But Joe Burrow deserves so much better. And at this point, he's already an established top 5 quarterback in the league. He just set the Bengals single season touchdown record with, I think it was 36 touchdowns now he's up to. 4,000 yards with 3 games to go. That defense allows 28 points per game. They've lost 2 games this year in which the offense scored 38 points. Also, the NFL Players Association survey came out last year. 32nd in facilities, 32nd in food, 32nd in treatment of families. It's just like they need someone to come in and connect with the players, fix the defense, and possibly do it somewhat on the cheap in terms of resources around. And Brian Flores walked into an actively tanking Miami situation and pushed against the wave, basically, and brought that team to a 500 record. Didn't they win like 9 games one year? So I just, man, if you brought in Brian Flores and an offensive coordinator to partner with Joe Burrow, Flores would take that defense from 30th to 15th overnight, and the Bengals would be back as an 11-win playoff team. And it's a smaller market. He can kind of just low profile. Yeah. That Jets job is a disaster. Like, he can settle in. I think they should do it.
The Bengals are a sneaky, good but poorly run team too. So like that's the thing, that the Brown families own them for a long time. Like, you see guys going to practice and they're crossing a street. Like, your players are Jamar Chase is going to practice and he's crossing a street. I also don't know if the Brown family would hire a guy that's suing the league, but I get your point. And yes, they need some, like, that defense is 100% absolutely embarrassing. And the fact that Bengals are not a playoff team is probably one of the biggest jokes. Like, there's a lot of teams that deserve to not sniff the playoffs. The Bengals should be a wild card team.
Well, and yeah, they can never win a game in September either. So you're looking back at like week 1, they lost a home game to the Patriots in week 1, right? I think that was a home game. And if let's say you just flip that one game, they'd be sitting at 7-7 going into the last few weeks. Mm-hmm. They would be a game back of the last wild card spot. And now they're sitting here having to run the table just to get to 9 wins, and they're probably going to lose tiebreakers because they like, why are you starting slow? You had 8 months to prepare for week 1, and every year they're starting 0-2, 0-4, 1-3, whatever it is. So I think B-Flow would be, and I know people in the comments are like, quit trying to get rid of Brian Flores.
You're not popular right now.
I'm not trying to get rid of him. I'm being realistic.
Why don't you try and keep the coaching staff, huh?
He deserves a head coaching job. He will get it at some point. I hope he stays Vikings coordinator for 5 more years. That seems unrealistic.
No, I think you're right. And in fact, my one of my hottest takes was I think that Joe Burrow is going to win the 2025 MVP. Like, Joe Burrow is having a sneaky, we really should be talking about him, but people can't define the actual award. And there's a lot of, well, if your team does not win, you can't be it. And that debate has gone on in all sports, including baseball, forever. But if you look at what Joe Burrow is doing this season, I think he should be in the discussion. Like, if Darnold's in the discussion, now the Vikings are winning, which is awesome. But if you look at statistically, like what Burrow has done, I think he should be in the discussion. And furthermore, I think that he has a very good chance, if to your point, they tighten up the defense at all, if they tighten it up, I think that Joe Burrow has a great chance to be the 2025 NFL MVP.
Well, Lamar Jackson just re-entered the chat with 5 touchdown passes yesterday. So in addition to Lamar Jackson running for 743 yards so far this year, he has 34 touchdowns and just 3 interceptions. He leads the league in passer rating. And then Josh Allen is on a ridiculous run too, with all the rushing touchdowns and the work that he's done.
6 touchdowns against the Rams by Josh Allen. 3 passing and 3 running. I saw a guy yesterday. There was a Lions defender. I swear to God. So Josh throws a pass. The Lions defender, not a slight man, hits him from behind. Against most QBs, the QB goes flying forward. We probably get a flag, right? The defender bounced off Josh Allen.
Yeah, he's
like, you didn't
6
even
foot 5, 240 pounds.
Bounced off of him. Anyway.
He's bigger than linebackers.
Yes.
Like, literally, most linebackers are like 230, 240 now because they're smaller than maybe 6'2", 6'3". He's literally, if you lined him up on the defense, he would, and stood him next to Blake Cashman, like he would dwarf linebackers. If you lined him up next to Micah Parsons, he's bigger than some of the best edge rushers in the NFL.
They fall off him. It's like they're flies.
Proposed in season 2, proposed a couple weeks ago. He's an engaged man now. He's doing things right.
He's on a legendary run. Yeah. So he has an engagement. He has, in the last 2 weeks, an engagement. I think it's 5 rushing touchdowns and 5 or 6 passing touchdowns.
But you know what he's not doing? He's not going to run off with his gal in season and get married.
On a Tuesday, washing his hair at CVS.
Yeah.
Arby's. Yeah. Wherever the hell they went. Where did they go? Yeah, they like eat.
Well, they went to a courthouse and then.
Yeah. I think they went, and then I think they went to Arby's. I think it was the courthouse, then Arby's. I'm dead serious. I'm not kidding about that. They actually
Christian Ponder, planning for not having that NFL quarterback money in the future. Is probably what they were discussing.
I'll continue on the quarterback train because I'm going to take it a little bit further with another quarterback. I am sick, and I have been on this train, in my opinion, I think for the last 2 years. And yes, this team is still playing decent. They still could be in the playoff mix. I'm sick of people telling me Justin Herbert's elite. I'm sick of it, and I'm done with it. I know he's not throwing interceptions. That's great. But, dude, how is this guy in the elite chat? Because he has the physical raw tools? When you even look at just some of the raw statistics, and again, Harbaugh has kind of put in a running game there, which is good, but we're always looking at an excuse, in my opinion. It kind of sounds familiar to another quarterback that we know. Well, what is it about Justin Herbert? Why isn't his teams always there? Why isn't his individual stats always there? He's bottom half in QBR. He's bottom half in passer rating. He's obviously not throwing a ton, but passing yards, he's near the bottom. I look at Justin Herbert and I want to put him in the Joe Burrow conversation, in the Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Yes, he has the big arm. But, dude, eventually you either are in this conversation or you're not. Those guys that we just talked about, the Allens, the Jacksons, the Burrows, they entered the chat nearly right away. And Herbert still has time for sure, I guess, but I'm sick of the elite chatter with Justin Herbert. I'm done with it. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, I'm a big Justin Herbert defender. He threw a couple bad passes yesterday, and so I will defend him again. His top 2 targets are literally a second-round rookie in Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston, who was deemed a complete bust going into the season. And he has helped just create weapons out of nowhere after they said goodbye to Keenan Allen and a couple other guys. So I want to see him with Jim Harbaugh another year or two. And I think we're going to know plenty in like a year if they get another weapon or something about Herbert. He's a top half of the league quarterback.
For sure.
But in terms of putting him in the same sentence as some of the guys we just talked about, yeah, I mean, he's not.
What does he do here? So like let's go back and say, okay, the Chargers say yes. Quasi, we will make that trade. We will trade you Herbert for a couple of first-round picks, blah, blah, blah.
Which they explored, reportedly.
Which they explored, yes. Mm-hmm. And they also, it turns out, it did explore Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
So like they were rummaging around through the quarterback bin there. But what happens if you put Herbert in the infrastructure here with O'Connell? I mean, Harbaugh is great at what he does, but it's no secret that the success, the be-all, end-all of a Harbaugh offense is the run game. And you put him here with Justin Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, a play caller who basically says, yes, I want you to use that arm. Mm-hmm. Boy, I'd love to see that.
Well, but here's then we just go kind of back into a similar debate because, yeah, you bring him in, but he's one of the richest quarterbacks in the league.
No, I'm just saying.
And he would put up crazy numbers offensively.
Yeah.
You would have a top 5 offense, passing offense, everything. But you wouldn't have been able to bring in 5 or 6 awesome free agents with the cap space, you know?
I'm just saying from a talent, like to Dex's point, because the Chargers thing is difficult. Like at times it's like, oh, it's going great, and then it's not. So like, but if you put him in an infrastructure like this, I think he is top 5.
Yeah, the list gets wonky when you start to rank out quarterbacks. Like, it's kind of a hard exercise because, like, what do you do with Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts, if you ranked passers, would not be anywhere near the top 10.
Yeah.
But then you take some of these dudes who just Jalen Hurts is just going to be able to pound it in from inside the 5-yard line. Like yesterday, they did a tush push from the 2-yard line yesterday and just shoved him in the end zone.
Those legs, man.
Well,
He's got those legs.
Yeah.
Strong.
Yes.
Strong
Strong
legs.
legs.
Yeah.
Yes. Strong. Big legs.
Oh, man. Any other thoughts from you guys before we figured we'd pop on here, say hi, celebrate a Vikings clinching of the playoffs, and then we're obviously going to be back for Vikings Vent Line tonight post Monday Night Football. But any final thoughts from you guys?
I'm just excited for the game. I'm just I think it's going to I think it might be closer than we think just because games like we're so convinced that on paper, and it's accurate, that this should be a blowout. And if the Bears have any pride at all, that San Francisco game has to at least have a sliver of like, okay, that was I mean, they fired the coach. Not only did we not get the new coach pop-up, but we actually got worse. Like we didn't care.
Yeah.
This team's lost 7 consecutive games since they were in great shape, and that complete moron cornerback, I think, is taunting the fans in Washington. So I do think it might be closer than we think, but I'm fairly confident. I'm just, as I said, I'm wait and see.
Mike chimes in and says, injury report. Yeah, so the last report that the Vikings put out is the Saturday report, and then the next one we're going to get officially is 90 minutes before kickoff.
Yep.
Well, Stephon Gilmore is questionable with the hamstring, so he was limited. He did not practice Thursday or Friday. Thursday was a walkthrough.
Yep.
And then Saturday was probably a walkthrough too. He was limited, so they're kind of estimating there, but he's questionable. Harrison Smith was on here just for like a veteran's rest day, but he's in.
Yeah, he's been getting
Aaron Jones with the back is in. Patrick Jones with the knee is in.
Van Jinkels, don't forget your guy Van Jinkels.
With the hip, he's in. And then Josh Oliver in with the wrist and ankle.
Yeah.
So all those guys are in. And then the Bears, I think DeAndre Swift is one that people are watching. He's listed as questionable with a groin injury as the main starting running back for the Bears.
I'm going Gilmore doesn't play.
Yeah, don't.
You're
He
good.
didn't practice on Thursday or Friday. He came back and did some work on Saturday, but that last practice is very light. I think they got him back out there. I think he skips again, but he's what, 34, a hammy, and you play cornerback?
Yeah.
I don't need you to test that.
Ride the pine. You're good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cheer your team on and help them out with adjustments.
Yeah, rest up. So, all right, tonight, Vikings Vent Line. Couple people asking, how do I get on Vikings Vent Line? Hans Handbag chimes in. It's just.
I'm going to guess right now that Hans Handbag, not his real name.
You think that's an alias, Judd?
I think it's an alias.
Detective
I'm going to go with
Judd?
alias.
Okay.
I'm going to go with alias.
It's VikingsVentLine@gmail.com. VikingsVentLine@gmail.com. Whiteout conditions tonight inside US Bank Stadium.
Yeah, Judd. Get your white out.
White helmets for the first time in
Very
Vikings
excited.
history.
Yeah,
Very
it's
excited.
gonna be cool. Be cool. So yeah, Purple Daily YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, so you can get notified when we go live right after the game tonight. Back at full strength here, Purple Daily, where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.